I just had a marathon video based on a tournament from over 100 years ago, and while I enjoyed the game, I would just, in the analysis, I just like sometimes to watch games without going into big depth. I just want to see what happened and share it with friends that like to see my videos. So I like this guy, Vincent Moret, because he's two books. He has made a book for white and one for black. And those games are, in my opinion, very pleasant to watch. They are not obviously 2800 chess rated player, which I honestly don't care, because often players like Magnus Carlsen, Gukesh and so on, they are too deep. That's the reality. They are really professional, right? They work on it. They work from when they were 10 years old, maybe. So I just want to enjoy chess. And enjoy chess sometimes it's also to follow some superficial games. In this case, there is a game from chapter 3, game 17, of this Jean de Win against Vincent Moret in Nancy in 1983. And I think I've been to Nancy. Here he says, here is a game that could not be more symbolic for me, since it is the first official game that I ever played in a chess tournament. As I had no idea of the significance of the ELO rating, I only learned afterwards that I was up against one of the strongest Lorraine players of the era, who had even participated in the national championship in the 1950s. I only had my naivete to resist, as well as a small trap that I had found in the only chess book that I had read up until the tournament. And this is why we play chess, right? We like to listen to the stories and read about them. Okay, so the champion is white, Vincent Moret is black, and obviously from what he says we already know he got beat up pretty badly. So e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop c4. And why there is this game in chapter 3? Because it says the title is Moderato. Black avoids the gioco piano after 1 e4, e5. Knight d4. And this is a dubious move, okay? It says, a dubious move attributed to a certain Fritz. This Fritz. A German player from the early 20th century, not the Silicon Monster, and based on a trap that we meet quite often in young players' games. We have to know it, not to play it, but above all to avoid becoming a victim of it. At the time this game was played, I obviously had no idea of the theory of the Italian opening. Okay, let's see how do you think white continues in this position? He continues with knight takes e5, boom. By Jove, my opponent falls into the trap. I could not believe my eyes. He says that knight takes d4 is without doubt and is a refutation of the black's opening. Okay, and also c3 is very strong, but we don't care. We just want to see what happened here. So queen takes e5, so knight takes e5 is followed by queen g5. Wow, interesting. So it seems that white played bishop takes f7, but he was expecting something like knight takes f7, because after this there is this. Yeah, okay, this trap is easy to see, right? Check, and obviously if you play this, checkmate. Okay, so this is very easy. I think you can find it normally in tactic books because it happens. Okay, so let's see what happened after that. Yeah, okay, let's see if I'm correct. Knight takes e5, queen g5, he played bishop takes f7. Okay, and this is the thing, you see, he didn't expect me to move, which shows that he was not really prepared in this opening, because what you should do is to play against a computer some games in the openings you want to play and see what happens, right? Obviously this was 1983, so maybe there were no really computers in the time that were strong enough to play chess and obviously give good advice. So bishop takes f7, king e7. After my first emotion had subsided, I told myself that things were not actually that bad. I cannot castle here, sure, but white has both the g2 pawn and the e5 knight attack. Moreover, if a knight moves, the f7 bishop will be hanging, but that did not take into account an unpleasant surprise. The unpleasant surprise. The fact that this king is blocking this. Well, let's see what happens. Castle. Wow. The guy castle. Queen takes e5. Bishop takes g8. Rook takes g8. And so here, if we see the material, white is down a pawn, right? c3, knight c6, and d4. Beautiful. Yeah, because obviously white here has a development advantage. Okay, let's see what he says. White obviously has more than sufficient compensation for the sacrifice piece. He already has 2 pawns on strict material terms, but also a very strong center that will sweep everything in its path. And let us not forget the very insecure black king on e7. Okay, okay, obviously you cannot take this because there is rook e1, right? So you have to go back. Queen f6. And yeah, continue with e5, queen g6, f4, d6, and here there is queen b3. Interesting move. Okay. Here he played rook h8 and d5, knight a5, queen a4, b6, e6, queen e8. Obviously you don't exchange the queens. Queen e4, knight b7. You generally don't like to return back, right? f5. Okay, the black's position is clearly terrible because, I mean, come on, this is not moving, this is out of the game, this is out of the game. As you can see, is not the material that you need to count, but the activity of the pieces. It's clearly terrible for black, right? Yeah. Okay. King d8, b4, bishop e7, bishop e3, a5, knight d2, bishop f6, bishop d4, queen e7, e3, and rook e8. Hoping to recycle the b7, knight to d8. Oh, sorry, not rook e8, king e8. Okay, king e8. And here it happens. Boom, bishop takes f6, queen takes f6, queen c4, and queen e7 again to protect this. Knight e4, rook f8, g4. Wow. Okay, white's position is great, but of course he needs to find a way to finalize this amazing advantage, and this is really a pain in black's territory. Knight d8, g5. Wow. Bishop a6, b5. The phalanx of 8 white pawns, still intact, has been devastating in the center, on the queen side and on the king side. And after bishop b7, there is the final move of this game, which is f6. And here black resign. Here it says a tragicomic position. Black resigns when not one white pawn has yet been exchanged. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. After the game, my opponent, a gentleman of a certain age and class, complimented me on the quality of my play. Yeah. In hindsight, I feel that his polite compliment was doubtless exaggerated, and advised me to enroll in a chess club. I followed his advice, and so it is a little thanks to him that I owe my modest chess career. Yeah, a beautiful game. I mean, it's interesting that this guy shared with us his first game in a tournament. I think it's really great. So this is the book, My First Chess Opening Repertoire for White. It's really a not very thick book that everybody can read, and you can start to practice the opening that he gives you, the theory, because the theory is based on games of also his students, and so he shows you a lot of stuff. It's really nice. I like it because it's not too deep. It's something you can use after reading for a few days. Thank you very much for watching.